a good time. Put a smile on your face, yeah. Can be Cam and Elation Radio. Even brighten your day and help you through the night. Bring you good music. Can be Cam and Elation Radio. And here's your host, Kim and Kim.
Lady Michelle Austin. I know what you've been through. Don't think that it's only you. It's only you. Yeah. Pick your head up, get up. It's only right. Take back your life. Pick your head up, get up. Take back your life.
I'm gonna have my
and come and talk to me. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Come and talk to me. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Out loud. Speak your peace. Come and talk to me. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Out your mouth. Hey, speak your peace. Come and talk to me. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. I know that you're in pain. You gotta love yourself enough to make the change. Yeah. Speak into your atmosphere. Yeah. And take away the power of your fear. Pick your head up, get up. It's only right. Take back your life. Pick your head up, get up. Take back your life and come and talk to me. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Come and talk to me. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Out loud. Speak your peace. Come and talk to me. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Out your mouth. Hey, speak your peace. Come and talk to me. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Speak your peace.
Hello, Thriver Nation. How is everyone tonight? I hope that everyone is well. I am just doing a wonderful check-in with you all today. We have a little bit of rainy weather here. I like to call it God's liquid sunshine, and so I don't know if it's raining where you are, but we're just going to be thankful for whatever kind of weather we have, right? So let's get started. I'm so happy to be here with all of you, and I just welcome everybody. You know you are listening to Speak Your Peace with Lady Michelle, and I am your host, Lady Michelle herself in the flesh. And I want to welcome you all to our virtual safe zone. And you know that this platform right here is centered around the education of domestic violence. We love to, educate you on domestic violence, toxic relationships. We talk about the different forms of trauma here. We talk about some self-love and how to find your voice. And these are just a few of the things that we talk about. We really go into detail about different things that we know will help you along the way. And why do we do that? Because we designed this podcast with each one of you in mind. And we designed it to, make sure that we're enlightening you, that we're educating you. We want to always inspire you, and we want to make sure that you are empowered when you listen to our podcast here with Speak Your Peace with Lady Michelle, right? So I definitely want to make a disclaimer though before we get too deep into it. We may have some wonderful new Thriver Nation members, and we love that. We love everybody coming in, the new, the old, everybody. Just tell everybody about this wonderful show. And so I want to just give the disclaimer that all the content of this podcast is intended for general information purposes only, and it is not to be used, or it's not to be implied or to be substituted for any professional mental health, any trauma advice, or any therapy sessions, okay? So make sure you remember that. And please, please, please never disregard or delay seeking professional treatment based upon any content that you hear on this podcast. Promptly consult your physician or call 911 if you believe you have a medical emergency. All right, we got that out the way. We got all the preliminaries out of the way. Did I say that word right? Preliminaries. Sometimes I get a little tongue-tied over here, a little twisted. But today I really wanted to, like I said, I wanted to do a check-in with you guys. I know that it is the 21st anniversary of 9/11. So it happened on September the 11th, 2001. I can't even believe that it's been that long, because it just almost feels like it just happened yesterday, right? It was one of the worst things that we could imagine. I mean, we've had many tragedies that happened after that, but that particular one was the first one that I knew of in my time on this earth, and I never will forget the day. And on that day, I remember being at work, and I remember it happening, and we watched the plane, the second plane hit. We watched that from my office building. They had a TV and small TV at that time, in the vice president's office, and we watched it. And so all of the things were unfolding, and I remember being working across the street from the stock exchange, and when they said that the other plane, was headed to Pennsylvania, we all got nervous, right? And so, not the second plane, the third plane, I'm sorry. And we all got nervous, and they closed down the stock exchange because, that's where all the money happens, right? So they thought that they was going to crash into that. And we were right across the street. Yet they did not dismiss us yet. And I believe it was because they, kind of felt like if you're in here, you're safer in here than out there, because we really don't know what's going to happen out there, right? But I will never forget grabbing my purse and heading out of there and saying, I've got to go get my children from school. I got to get home. If anything's going to happen, we need to be together. And the anxiety and the excitement of everything was just mind-blowing. It was just, like I said, it was anxiety. So it was like my heart is racing. I'm just thinking about getting to my kids, right? And so what I wanted to talk about today was a thing called collective trauma. We always talk about different forms of trauma on this show. And so I thought that would be best to cover that today, because it's not something that you hear about. I know I had to look into it. I had to see exactly what collective trauma was. And the thing about it is, it's so fitting for what we're talking about. And so I'll read the definition to you. And collective trauma is the trauma that happens in a large group. I'm sorry, let me start over. The trauma that happens in large groups or of individuals and can be transmitted across generations and communities. It can be caused by wars, genocides, slavery, terrorism, mass bombings, mass shootings, and natural disasters. I'm going to read that again, because we need to hear that again, because we don't think about that kind of stuff. Collective trauma is the trauma that happens in large groups of individuals and can be transmitted across generations and communities. It can be caused by wars, genocides, slavery, terrorism, mass bombings, mass shootings, and natural disasters. Collective trauma can be either experienced firsthand or witnessed. And some of the symptoms of collective trauma include rage, depression, survivor's guilt, chronic diseases, syndromes, denials, and internalized depression, right? So when you hear about something like that, when you hear and you think about this, it makes you think about the different things that's going on in our society and really all in our world, right? And especially when you think about the 9/11 tragedy, you could think about Hurricane Katrina. You can think about, of course, what we've all just, well, we're still in it, but not as bad as we were, which was the COVID-19. So when you think about that pandemic and how we are really still affected by all of these things, because think about the 9/11, we are still affected by the way we travel, right? It changed the way we travel. It just, we will never go back to the way we used to travel. I can remember years ago being able to go to the airport and actually see somebody off on their plane. You could walk all the way in. You could go to the window and you could actually wave bye-bye to the plane. Now, you're dropping them off at the door, and you can't even hardly stay out there that long. They want you to move your car and move it along quickly. So, things have changed. And then recently, like I said, COVID-19, when you think about the way that things have changed, and as a collective, again, remember this is collective trauma, so we've all experienced some form of this, and we're all still affected by it. Because think about how our children, how they learn now for quite some time. I'm not quite sure when everyone went back to school, but for a while they were learning online, right? And so you think about, I know my granddaughter, she went through kindergarten online. She didn't get to go into the building until she was in first grade. So that experience of kindergarten and being inside the building and, dealing with her teachers and her fellow students, she didn't get to experience that. And then when you think about remote working, many of us are still working remotely. I know I am, and there are many others who have not gone back to their buildings, right? So at my company, we have choice. So you get a chance to, choose if you want to come in on certain days or whatever your management needs you to come in. You get to do that, but it's not really, no one is really going back all 5 days of the week. But that changes things because even when I've gone in the building, it's like ghost town. Hardly anyone is in the building. So you don't really see your friends and coworkers together. There's no more really eating lunch together and all of those different things. When you think about when you're in the stores, they're still 6 feet apart. You still don't want people on top of you. You remember when we used to have to follow those arrows? Let me tell you, I don't know about y'all, but I could never get those arrows together, and it was times when I went back the way I came in because I could not figure out how to get back around to follow all of those arrows. So that changed. Someone like me who has, I'm directionally challenged, so those arrows gave me anxiety when I would go in the building and you're telling me I can't go back out the way I came in. I have to go somewhere else. And so, again, collective trauma, these are major things that have happened to every one of us. and it has really changed the trajectory of how we are functioning. Many people lost their jobs during COVID-19. Just how the world changed. And I remember hearing someone say in the beginning of it that we will never go back to the way it was. It made me just think about how I just said with 9/11, we'll never go back to the way we used to travel. And so there are so many things that have changed in this time that we're in now, that we'll never go back to the way it used to be. And so I just wanted to do a check-in with everyone. I just wanted to say to you guys that, protect yourself. Don't get burnt out. I know a lot of times we're working extra long now. We're working more hours now because we're remote. And so it's harder to disconnect or unplug, if you will, from the computer. Well, I want to say to you, unplug. When it's your time is done for your work, unplug. Go outside and get some fresh air. Do some self-care. Go out and walk around the block when it's your lunchtime. Because normally if you were at work and you were in the building, you probably would be outside. You would go and you would, even if you walk somewhere to go get lunch or whatever, let's get back into those things. I'm just trying to think of some other things. If you guys know some stuff, send it in to me. But just let's do some self-care. Let's make sure we create some boundaries. I believe that we've all, not all, I'm sorry, let me take that back. Many of us, I had to put myself in there because I have been slacking on my boundaries. But, many of us, because we want to please others and be around others, when you get the opportunity to be around people, right? Because with COVID-19, we were stuck in the house, we were locked down, and so when we get the opportunity to be around others, we just jump at it, right? And we just, sometimes maybe we say yes too much, and when we really should probably say a little more no, right? So I'm just saying all of that to say, let's check our boundaries. Let's do some more self-care. Self-care, of course, we've talked about that before, but that could be some exercise, that could be some meditation, that can be some yoga, some mindfulness, that can be, just reading a good book. Join a book club. I belong to a book club, and it's an amazing thing for me. It could be just listen to your favorite music and just maybe light some candles or something and have a glass of wine, or however it is that you can do something for yourself to help you through this collective trauma. Yes, it's something that has happened. It's a mass thing, and it's nothing that you could do anything about, but you could do something about this part. You could do something about saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to let this thing overtake me, right? I'm not going to let this cause me to shut down and stop living my life. Of course, we know that COVID-19 took so many lives away from us. It took over 500,000 lives and still counting, and that number is probably not even right anymore. That was a number that I found on one statistic, but it just really took people out of here. And not only did it happen with COVID-19, but we began to see people leaving here and passing on from other things. But it just made you think and know that life was just too short, because we didn't get a chance to see people. People were having babies, and new grandparents weren't able to see their babies, because remember when you could go to the hospital and you could see the babies and you could be in the waiting area until she delivered, and we couldn't do those things anymore. And so folks were, in hospitals just for any little thing. You could be in there to get your pinky toenail tail taken off, and you couldn't have your family and friends there with you. And sometimes things happen, some tragedies happen, and folks were in there by themselves and didn't get a chance to have their loved ones next to them. So we learned that life is too short, and so I want you all to think of various ways that you can do something to change your everyday life, change the way that you look at life and the way that you go through things. And let's not let the little small things affect us, and let those small things, knock you off your square. And believe you me, they come to knock you off your square. But let's not allow that to happen, because we can see from these collective traumatic events that these things were major. There's people that's still affected by Hurricane Katrina and the other hurricanes that have come after that. Folks had to actually leave their homes and move to other states. They had to move in with people. They had to, start new jobs and start new lives all together. So I'm saying all that to say, let's just, be more mindful. I had to take a breath because I was just talking too fast. Hold on, let me catch myself, because I get so passionate about this. I get so passionate about us living a good life and a life of self-care. We do not talk enough about self-care, and I had to look at that myself, because I was getting burnt out myself. I was getting overwhelmed myself. And so, like I said, working those long hours, working on too many projects, doing too many things for family and friends and loved ones, and, not doing enough for you. So let's take that moment. Let's breathe. And let's really say, what can I do that will be good for me? Because if I'm not good for me, if I'm so traumatized and I've gone through so many different things that I won't be able to function well enough to be a blessing to someone else. I won't be able to. I'm so, I'm in so much chaos and trauma, because that's what's happening around the world. We know the world is very chaotic right now. We know that trauma is just happening at a widespread, large scale, right? And, but let's calm down. Let's think of ways that we can take care of self, and that's going to help us take care of our families. That's going to help us to be able to be better at work. We'll be better on our job if we have that balance there. We'll be better family members. We'll be, and that could be anything. You could be, a spouse, a parent, a sibling, an auntie or uncle, whomever you are to your family members. Will be better if we begin to take that time out, carve that time out of your busy schedule. Because I know we all got them busy schedules. I know I do. But I even have to do what I'm telling you guys to do. Carve out some time and say, this right here is me time. This right here, I'm not letting anyone into this space, this time frame right here. Now, you'd have to do what's best for you. It could be a Friday evening. It could be a Saturday morning from, 9 to 12. You don't do anything for anybody else, but sit on your balcony and drink your cup of coffee and read a good book. It could be any time that's going to be good for you. And because and I'm coming to the end of this, but I just want you all to remember, because I know when we think about self-care, a lot of people just think about the spa, right? And I've said this many times. People think about, I'm going to get my nails done, I'm going to get my hair done, and that's my self-care. No, I am talking about those things that will really make you relax. Oh, let's take them deep breaths. Oh, I had to take one myself just now. That feels good. So those things that are going to allow you to relax, those things that are going to allow you to really get in tune with yourself, to get centered with yourself and be able to think clearly. Sometimes we can't even hear God. We're praying. We can't even hear God because we're just going. These things are going to be like, okay, I'm chilling right now. I'm going to take a moment, okay? Because here's the bottom line. When you think about collective trauma, it does seem like things are harder, and it seems like things are different, and that's because they are, because that is exactly what collective trauma is. So we are here at the end. I just wanted to do a check-in with you guys. I wanted to just really, I know it's 9/11, and many people deal with that. They are still dealing with that. They've lost their loved ones during that time. And for that, we certainly do send our prayers out to each and every person who was affected by that, each and every person who, is still dealing with some of the remnants and the residue of 9/11. This is the 21st anniversary. And so we certainly do, send our prayers and hearts and virtual hugs to each individual who has been affected, and for those who, went on to be with the Lord on that day in 2001, we certainly do pray for their souls. And so I love you all. I thank you for, every time you tune in to listen to our show. I thank you so much for that. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without our wonderful producer, Dr. Kimmy Kim. And so we always thank God for her, and for her being a visionary of this station and the Elation family. Please make sure that you tune in, Spotify, iHeart, podcast, everywhere. iTunes, all of that stuff, you'll be able to find us on there. And, for our final thoughts, of course, we always talk about being kind to one another. That's without being said. We definitely want to always say be kind to one another. And we always go that one step forward, and we say be kind to yourself. That's all that we've been talking about tonight, was, of course, being kind to yourself, loving on yourself, doing those things that you need to do for you. Please don't forget that you are no longer a victim. You are certainly more than a survivor, and you are definitely a thriver, right? Definitely. On every level. Make sure that you remember that. We also want to make sure that we let you know that I want to remind all of our thrivers, everyone in our Thriver Nation, that when you love yourself, you are healed. And certainly when you are healed, you are loved. There's no other way to put it. It's all about healing. It's all about loving yourself. And that is the way that you become a thriver. We know that we've all been through some type of trauma in some way or another, but definitely by loving ourselves and just getting the healing. And that healing is different for each one of us, but getting that healing, walking in that healing, you will be loved. We always hear the words, hurt people, but it is hurt and unhealed people who hurt people. Again, I love you guys to pieces. Y'all know I do. We're going to go ahead and get on out of here. again, just wanted to do a quick check-in. I hope that everyone is well. You can always reach me if you need to talk. Confidentiality is my number one thing. You could always reach me, LadyMichelleSpeaks@gmail.com. And I think that's it. Love you all. Have an amazing week. And we'll be back next week with another outstanding guest. You don't want to miss it. Have a good one. Bye-bye now.
Pick your head up. Get up. It's only right. Take back your life. Pick your head up. Get up. Take back your life. And come and talk to me. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Speak your peace. Come.